Two souls, one bridge, and a love that keeps surviving every storm. Elena never expected her life to change the evening she met Michael, a quiet photographer with tired eyes and a heart that recognized hers instantly. From soft rain-kissed moments to nights filled with unspoken fears, their story becomes a journey through passion, distance, doubt, and the fragile miracle of choosing each other again. When Michael disappears into the silence of his own shadows, Elena is left fighting for the truth, and for the love that once made them both feel alive. But sometimes the greatest battles happen inside the heart, and the strongest love is the one that returns after nearly breaking. This is a story about losing yourself, finding your way back, and discovering that real love isn't perfect, it's chosen.
Love Stories Max. Welcome to my channel. Enjoy watching, friends.
The bridge that remembers. Maybe everyone has that one day that keeps echoing through their dreams. Beautiful, bright, a little painful. For me, it was the evening I first met Michael. I was standing on an old wooden bridge above the river, the kind that creaked and groaned like it had outlived 3 lifetimes. Dusk was slowly settling over the water, and the bridge seemed like the perfect place to finally reset my mind. I had just moved to this city, and everything in me felt like it was hanging by a thread: work, housing, my thoughts, the strange feeling that I wasn't at home anywhere. I was taking photos of the water below when I heard a sharp creak beside me. "You running from the world too?" a man's voice asked. I turned, and there he was. Michael, tall, fair-haired, with eyes that looked straight through you but somehow noticed every tiny detail. A camera hung around his neck like it was a part of him. "More like running from loud thoughts," I answered. He laughed, softly, warmly, with that tone that makes something inside your chest warm up. "Oh, that I understand. I'm Michael, Elena." And that was it, the simplest exchange, yet that moment stretched inside me for years like a melody I kept replaying. Michael had a way of creating small magic. When I stood on that bridge, he reached out a hand. "Come on, I'll show you a place where thoughts go quiet." We went down to the bank, overgrown, shadowed by tall trees. He bent down, picked up a tiny stone, and handed it to me. "Throw it into the water. They say it takes the unnecessary stuff with it. What if I have too many thoughts?" I joked. "Then throw more stones," he grinned. "I'll help." We sat on the grass while the city dimmed behind us, and talked. Not much, but every word somehow felt heavier than usual. He told me he photographed people's stories. I told him I wrote small pieces just for myself, the kind nobody ever saw. He listened like each word mattered. The next morning I found a small note on my windowsill. One word: bridge, and a time: 7 p.m. I didn't know how he found my window. I didn't know why I didn't question it. But I went. He was there with his camera, and when I approached, he whispered, "Can I photograph you?" I nodded. He took the gentlest photo of my life, not because I looked beautiful, but because he looked at me as if I was more than I believed I was. Our meetings became routine. He brought small packets of Turkish coffee he roasted himself. His old tangled headphones somehow always ended up in my bag. I showed him a few of my sketches. He touched my hand so carefully it felt like he was afraid to scare me away. One evening we got caught in the rain. Instead of hiding, Michael opened his arms and spun around. I stood there soaked like a kitten, and he laughed. "Elena, you're alive. Rain reminds you of that." He kissed me then, tasting like rain and warmth. But life is never only light. One evening he came home quiet, shadows under his eyes. "I might get a chance to go to Canada," he said. "A big project. For 6 months." My heart sank. "Do you want to go?" I whispered. "I'm afraid of losing you." "And if you stay, you'll lose yourself," I answered, though everything in me screamed for him to stay. A crack formed between us, silent, painful. We didn't know if we could survive the distance. He didn't know if he'd return. I didn't know if I could wait. I took off the small glass heart pendant I'd worn since I was a teen. "Here, so you remember I exist. And that the bridge isn't the end." He cupped my face. "I'll come back. I have to come back to you." We held each other like the world was fading. He left. His messages grew shorter. Mine grew more careful. But we held on. One morning, when I'd already begun preparing myself for the idea that life might separate us, I opened my door, and he was there. Exhausted from travel, but smiling that same smile. I finished early. You know why? Because no story mattered as much as ours. I fell into his arms, breathing freely for the first time in weeks. After Michael came back from Canada, it felt like our world finally clicked into place again. We walked the city together, shared one cup of coffee, laughed at the same silly things. I started to believe the worst was behind us. That's when everything began to fall apart. I noticed Michael was different. He woke up at night suddenly, sitting in the dark kitchen with his breath heavy, not crying, just fighting for air against thoughts he didn't share. "Are you okay?" I'd ask. "Yeah, just can't sleep," he always said. But I knew something was wrong. One evening he didn't come home on time. I made his favorite basil pasta, and he just didn't show up. Didn't reply. Didn't call. By 11 p.m. my pulse was drumming painfully. He came home close to midnight. "I'm sorry," he whispered without looking at me. "Michael, what's going on?" He touched my hand lightly. "Elena, I'm not sure I can stay here. In this city. In this rhythm. After Canada my head's a mess. The project was rough. I saw things there, doesn't matter. He didn't finish. A new crack opened, colder than before. The next day he forgot to close his laptop. When the screen lit up, I saw it. A draft email. To a photo studio director in Berlin. "I'm not sure I'll stay here. Maybe I need a new beginning. Give me a few days." I froze. Something inside me tore. When he came home, I stood in the hallway gripping my sweater. "Are you planning to leave?" I asked. He went still. "You read my letter," he said, not angry, just defeated. "It was by accident. But tell me the truth." He ran his hand through his hair. "I don't know, Elena. I don't want to lose you. But at the same time, I feel like I'm suffocating. Like I left something unfinished over there. Like I'm not where I'm supposed to be. And where are you supposed to be, Michael? In my head I begged. Say, with you. Say it now. He stayed silent. Silence hurt more than any words. After that conversation everything changed. We slept back to back. Talked in short phrases. I made breakfast. He stared out the window. He left for work. I sat on the edge of the bed holding onto the blanket like it was the only stable thing left. One morning he said, I need to go away for a few days. Be alone. Think. And what am I supposed to do? I whispered. Live, he answered. He left. The door closed, and I finally broke. Quiet tears. The kind that feel like something inside has been ripped open.
I made mistakes, he whispered. But I'm still your brother. I shook my head. That's the problem. Mason broke down crying. Not dramatic crying. Real crying. The kind that shakes a person's whole body. I thought I could handle it, he said. I thought money would fix everything. But it only made everything worse. He admitted everything. Forging parts of the will. Bribing an attorney. Hiding crypto gains. Falsifying tax forms. Lying to our aunt. Lying to me. Lying to himself. He never wanted to hurt Mom, he said. He just panicked. Saw money and grabbed it with both hands. But greed is a hungry thing. It never stops eating. The audit became a full investigation. Mason had two choices. Fight it and lose everything, or cooperate and face fewer penalties. He chose cooperation. The government took nearly all the money. Every car, every investment, every luxury item.
He waited for me on the bridge where we'd first met, holding the small glass pendant I'd given him. Elena, his voice trembled. I was an idiot. I wasn't running from you. I was running from myself. From the fear that I wouldn't be the man you deserve. From responsibility. From the idea that I actually have a chance at something real. He stepped closer. I went to Berlin. Looked at the studio. The life I could have there. And I realized, none of it means anything if I don't come home to you. My heart clenched, painfully and beautifully. So you came back? I whispered. He held my hands. I came back for good. If you still want me. I didn't answer. I just hugged him so tightly he exhaled every fear into my shoulder. The story of Michael and Elena reminds us that love isn't a perfect fairy tale where everything stays soft and easy. Real love is a road, one that sometimes cuts deeply, but those sharp turns reveal the true strength of what you share. Love doesn't survive on kisses, romance, or pretty evenings alone. It survives on choices, daily, difficult, sometimes painful ones. On the courage to speak fears out loud even when your voice shakes. On the willingness to stay close when the other person is falling apart, confused, or facing inner battles. True connection isn't destroyed by distance, silence, or periods of doubt. It's destroyed only by the refusal to fight for each other. But when two people decide not to run away, when they choose each other again and again, even the harshest storms become bridges instead of walls. Love isn't perfection. Love is choosing to stay, to return, to accept imperfections and see them as part of a story worth writing together. And if, after the storm, two hearts are still reaching for each other, then everything they went through mattered.